Guys, welcome back to another episode of Bar Shits and Bullshit. I'm your host, Jay Bird. Here with Lily Lavender, you're going to talk about peace, love, and war. Talking about what's fair between tip outs, different bars, different situations, and what's important as far as like where tip out and how money is being dispersed. There's been kind of like some ongoing struggles back and forth about what's fair and what's expected if you're getting paid more versus getting paid less, and how much servers or bartenders having to tip out their essays.
Yeah, so at one location that I worked at, um, there was never really a set specific amount that they would tip out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just if the bussers worked their butts off, then the servers would tip them out accordingly, but not based off of like their sales for food or anything like that. And this was that location in Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
So we just tipped them out whatever we felt was good enough to tip them out. And then now at this location, we have a set specific amount, and it's, a percentage of the food sales.
Mm-hmm.
And it's across the board to everybody. So, like our food runners and our food bussers, or our bussers, we would tip out, before it was just 2% across the board and split it up between them. Now it's 4% because people can't tip accordingly,
Right.
or correctly. They've been shortchanging whoever and whatnot.
So who was in charge of like who monitored tipped out?
So the servers were supposed to do it. We had
So
a tip
servers
out
were
sheet, and they'd write it down.
So you had to have faith in your servers and that they were
Yeah.
trustworthy enough. So here's my thing about that whole situation is I have no faith in my common man to like tip out accordingly. Like when you add money into the mix, you always got that one person that feels entitled or has that situation where like, well, I expected more out of the person behind me.
Yeah.
And my and I've worked from the ground up in a lot of different scenarios. So when people tell me that like I should have done more, and I kind of look back on the whole situation, knowing that I've done 3 times as much as the person that's in charge of my money. So I have a completely different mindset on the whole ordeal. Not the saying that some bussers and food runners and stuff like that don't deserve it, because some
work harder than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you hold somebody to a certain standard, you're like you got to check, and you always have to do a reality check and see if it's like, if it's even obtainable for that food runner or essay to be able to do the things that you're asking them to do. You got to keep in mind too that it's not just you. Like in where I work, and granted it's corporate, it's a corporate entity. We do fine dining, so what we expect our essays and food runners to do is a lot more than most. So like they're supposed to be helping greet tables if needed, bringing bread and water, checking on refills, pretty much everything a server does, as well as flipping tables.
They help out. Right?
Yeah, but that is that one person that's supposed to be helping you out with all these extra things.
See, and that's exactly how it should be. It's a team effort, so everybody's supposed to be working together,
yeah.
And that's how it should be. But you're always going to have those few that fall through the cracks because their work ethic is a little bit different.
Right.
But this is where you're grooming them and you're teaching them how to be better, how to do better, how to set higher expectations for yourself,
right.
And hit a goal, something like that. Because majority of the time these are kids.
Yeah.
And if nobody is teaching them how to set goals and be goal oriented, then how are they ever going to learn?
Well, we've discussed this at length on multiple different episodes now. It's that attitude to reflect leadership.
Yes.
And whether you like it or not, as a server or in a higher up position, you are a leader to somebody that's underneath you. And I say underneath just because of the position status right there. So like if you're getting paid more, obviously you've earned the right to be in that position,
yes.
Right? So at some point or another, your essays are going to start to wonder why they're not getting paid as much as you. Over a period of time, they're going to feel that sense of entitlement. And it's your job as a server or bartender to lead by example. Like you're supposed to show people why you're getting paid more than others.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
Yeah. Like you have a skill set that not everybody else has. Like we've discussed bartending as a trade. You got to know a multitude of cocktails, ways of serving it, what kind of glasses they go in, how it's presentable. Not only that, and also having a conversation and being able to multitask in certain scenarios.
Right.
Right. So you got to be able to do all of these things, which in turn turns me onto a better paycheck or a better tip out. Like I'm doing all of these things that not everybody can do.
Right.
So, having all these traits, these are the things that SAs or food runners or bussers are all supposed to be doing. SA is also a server assistant, by the way.
Yes.
For those of you, because we use it a lot.
Yeah, y'all got that.
See, and you guys tip out 4% now, and where my location, which granted, like the pay scale and everything that works out is substantially different. Like there's a huge difference between pay and everything that's being put out, because like I said, I work in fine dining, so
they automatically deduct it.
Well,
30%.
It's 30%. So almost as a server, it's 30%.
Yeah.
As a bartender, it's different because so we get tip out from other servers, which is 8%. 13% goes to SA, 10% goes to the runners. So when you guys are tipping out 4%, it's almost 6 times the amount.
Right.
So we're tipping a lot more money out, but it goes into one big pool for all of them to be divided. Right. Here's the weird thing though, like it's not. So we do all these tip outs and everything, and we put it all in, and it's checked by numbers over and over and over again. But it's always a management job to make sure that everybody gets their money. That's accordingly. Because and the reason for that is managers have no stock in your money. Like the managers in these scenarios are getting paid salary, they're getting paid hourly, so they're not going to lose a career-based job over $20.
No.
So they're not going to skimp off the top. But you know who would? Is a bartender.
Is a bartender or server.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I have a little bit of some issues with how we're going to be doing it now. I completely agree with the whole managers will disperse, any of the tip outs because, like you said, we already have a salary, and we're not going to lose our position over $20.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
But skipping $20 here and $5 there or $100 here is kind of one of those things that a bartender or a server would flirt with over a period of time because they could get away with it, knowing that they could get away with it.
See, and I think that's I think that's our GM's whole mindset on this, is because it would be easier to weed out people that we don't know. So if someone's trying to steal or whatever, then we can pinpoint the location instead of having to guess and running an interrogation thing.
When I was in high school, my head coach actually, he brought us all in one big room, and every year we always had like 10 or 15 more new faces, new players that came, like that either transferred in or that just wanted to start playing the sport, just because they were pushed into it or egged on into it. We're all like, as players on the team, we always look for new talent, try to make us better, right? So every year we would all have a team meeting before we'd even be divided up lockers, right? And my coach would all set us off to the side, put us all in this one big room, and he'd be like, listen, I'm not saying any individual person is a thief or a liar, but statistically, in the numbers that are in this room, there's 8 thieves and liars.
Oh shit.
So and he said, these thieves and liars will tell you exactly what you want to your face and pass the book on somebody else for stealing. So lock your shit up. Always. He's like, always lock your shit up. You're getting an individual locker. This is your responsibility, right? So if anything gets stolen, it's not my fault, and I won't even take the report.
Right.
So knowing that, and I know everybody fights for loyalty, and everybody always fights for an honest person in a huge location. That is unrealistic. That's a standard that's impossible, especially in today's world. You know how much easier. And not to trash the younger generation, but you know how much more enticing and easy it is for people to steal and lie to get an easier way out.
It is.
Because we live in a generation where being easy and everything being convenient is a necessary thing. Yeah, we're all fighting for something that just comes easy, and we don't care about how fast it goes.
Right.
We're just kind of disappointed and let down. So the idea of a good work ethic and like loyalty and disloyalty and all of these things that play a huge factor in life are almost non-existent because they don't understand this, right? So when you say a restaurant is just putting themselves in situations where they can find a liar and a thief, they're not going to be disappointed. They will find them.
They'll find
every
them.
time. Problem is you're looking. Stop putting yourself in situations where you're going to find these things, and start putting yourself in a situation where it can't be done. That's what I would recommend to a management or a higher up staff in your situation. And we do that. Like we've had problems in my location with thieves and liars and different things like that. And this sounds really, really dark ages right now. I get it, but once we find it and once we get in those situations, we tend to find our way of find new solutions to the problem. Because to find somebody that's not going to steal from you or lie to you to your face over certain situations that's not a thing. Like it's going to happen.
I get it.
Right.
So I mean, it's like the whole thing where you're playing a sport and you're the losing team, but still everybody gets a reward. Everyone gets
participation.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel right now about here, because it's like everyone is getting the same tip out regardless of what type of work effort they put into anything.
Yeah.
Because you're all going to get tipped out the same amount, which I think is wrong.
It is wrong. And then things do reflect that though. Like you've discussed with me an essay that really, really busts his ass on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And all the servers take note of that and they try to tip him extra.
Exactly.
Which is great. Not every situation works that way.
No, I know. But I mean, it comes down to you're rewarding the one that works harder. And that's how it should be. It should be always the one that's working harder, because then maybe this is like a learning tool for the others who don't have as good a work ethic as that person. So maybe they'll start doing better because they're noticing they're getting tipped out more.
Yeah.
That's how I think it should be.
I think, yes, I totally agree with those.
Like that 4% across the board should be a minimum of what we're going to tip them all out. So they know they're all getting that same amount. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be rewarded to the person who's working harder. Right. Like we're still going to go over to him and give him more.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know when they stopped acknowledging like employee of the month, like all that shit.
Yeah.
And which it sounds cheesy to be employee of the month or whatever, but if you've earned it, you've earned it.
You've earned it.
The only ones that's going to ridicule somebody for being on top or ridicule somebody for doing all this other stuff is the lazy people that don't want to put in work.
Exactly.
And that's like the oldest story is dawn of time.
I know.
At the location I work at now, I used to cook there for years, and we did do employee of the month. They don't do it anymore, but they did do employee of the month all the way to the point where like you got money for your efforts and you got recognition. Like there's plaques still there with my name and several of my colleagues' names for the work that they used to do. Like, and it's constantly.
And I think it's a really good tool. I think that should still be in effect, but like you're not going to get it at these small businesses because everybody's looking to make a buck.
Yeah. Well, here's the situation: is over and over and over and over a period of time, people are starting to acknowledge that lazy people are getting just the same, or getting rewarded for being lazy, and I think that's wrong.
I think it's wrong too.
Because I've been working since I was 12 years old. Nothing's owed, and a good work ethic is. If I don't have anything else in life, that's the one thing that I've always been proud of. Is I can just buzz my ass and make things happen. But that's where we came up with our ideas for like all of our long-term goals. Is that we're tired of making millions for everybody else.
Yes.
Right now, here's where we take what we've learned over the last 2 decades and build something on it. Right. And this is where like our hard work is going to pay off. But my hard work has never went unnoticed.
Exactly.
Right? Like in all situations, people will almost always come up and be like, you know what, that guy will get things done. That's somebody you want on your team. That's somebody that's willing to do the work that nobody else is willing to do. You know, and sometimes simple acknowledgement is huge, and it'll speak volumes in a lot of these situations. So
just a simple, I appreciate you. You know, all the hard work you've been putting in. I know it's been a lot lately. Like something as little as that, you know, words do go a long way. And I've been saying it for like forever. these kids that come into a restaurant and we see how their parents treat them or how they run all over their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these work ethics, they start at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like right now, I'm having this issue where one of my younger sons, he started crying this morning because he didn't clean up dog poo correctly. So he was asked to redo it.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, how come she doesn't have to do it? She doesn't have to do anything. I always have to do it. And I was like, well, because plain and simple. The oldest had all of these chores and everything, the responsibility of the whole household. It ran down to my second oldest.
Mm-hmm.
It ran down to my middle child. And now it's down to my fourth child.
Right.
And I'm like, you're 8 years old. You got this. You need to learn that it's hard work. You have to do things correctly the first time. Otherwise, you're going to go and redo it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get your allowance.
Right.
So it's plain and simple. You are rewarded. There's a benefit to being a better person with good work ethics.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts at home.
Well, and and all of that stuff plays a huge factor in all things and everything. So, for me, what's helped me with a good work ethic is any job that I've ever had before, I will get hired back if I really want the job or a job within that company. Even in yours, if I really wanted it, it won't be the job that I'm looking for.
No,
but I would get one.
You would get one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because my work ethic never went unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, there's the benefits of a good work ethic comes with knowledge and power, right?
It does.
My great uncle always told me that when you're going into a job, he said work harder than the person next to you. Always, everything in life is going to be a competition. If you work harder than the person next to you, you always got job security.
That's right.
You have made yourself irreplaceable, or at least in that certain scenario. So if I'm working harder than the person next to me, my head's not on the chopping block. His is, you know. And then knowledge is power. So what comes with a good work ethic is also incentive, right? So you're taking the initiative, incentive to learn a new position, and when you learn those new positions, you also become irreplaceable because all of a sudden you know something more or know one more thing than the colleague next to you, and you keep treating everything like a competition. I'm a full believer in competition.
Yeah,
and no participation trophies.
Yep.
You know, you take all those things, all those deciding factors out. I think that's a recipe for success and growth.
I do too.
So with all of that, just keep in mind when you're doing your tip outs, acknowledge the workload that's being put on your essays and your food runners. And if you're really that hard up about the money that you're spending on them, go and actually study their job titles.
Oh yeah, or try doing it without them in the equation.
Right. So exactly. Like if you can do the job better without them, and you don't want to tip them out, then you should readdress that with your management.
Yes.
But keep in mind, you have no help left.
That's
right.
It's
gone. So if you're trashing these people and you're dogging them, keep in mind that once they're gone, they're gone. You have no help. You burnt that bridge. So be ready for the consequence of that. But from those positions, if you're going to be getting paid for a job, you need to be doing that job.
Yes.
No free rides for everybody.
To the best of your ability, you need to be working.
Yeah, there's going to be hard days. There's going to be easy days. But the efforts that you show within these jobs are very, very, very important.
Yeah.
So, try to look at it from everybody else's point of view, readjust, and then don't set your standards way too high for them. If they're doing their job and this is what their job consists of, pay the man.
Yeah.
They've earned it. But if they're sitting around and standing around, I am a full believer in calling people out on their shit.
I am too.
I mean, but when I have essays, when I serve, I don't really expect a whole lot. Cause I'm weird about shit like that. I've done all my work my whole life. So if I'm actually if I'm asking, and my essays are weird about it too. So because I'll be like, hey man, I'm really behind on this one thing. Would you mind helping me out with that? And he's like, nah man, that's my job. And he'll go do it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of blessed on that front. But so keep all of these things in mind, guys, and hopefully it'll turn out for a better tip pool and a better situation. And if y'all start making this teamwork thing work out, hopefully your tips will work out accordingly.
And communication goes a long way.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much, and until next time, We'll see you next week.